So I've been quite hesitant to talk about this topic since I'm a personal trainer, but it is something I struggle with. Um, but I might as well talk about it if I'm going to preach and talk about healthy relationships to people, food, yourself. I might as well tell you where I come from.
Do, then have.
So basically, when I was younger, I was very overweight, underconfident. I'd sit around a lot, eat large amounts of food, probably secret eat at times. In hindsight, I wouldn't have called it that at the time, but I would eat foods and hope that, say, my parents wouldn't know that I'd had a bag of sweets before I had my dinner. Might seem normal to you, but in hindsight, I think it got quite out of hand. I used to eat out of anxiety, feeling depressed, low self-esteem. Food was always there, so I never had a good relationship with my body, with exercise, with food. But fortunately, I hit a point of being fed up, like just being fed up of being fed up, because I think there's times when people are a bit fed up, but they're not fed up enough to make a change and resist all of the bad habits that they've built. But I was really fed up. I was fed up of hating the way I looked. I was fed up of seeing myself as the fat kid. I was fed up of not having the confidence to talk to girls, to wear certain clothes. Yeah, that was it. So I managed to get a gym membership to David Lloyd. I managed to convince my mum. Shout out to my mum for getting me that. And at that point, I just took serious action. I used to walk like 2.5 miles every day to the gym, walk back sometimes. Got a bike later on at some point. I used to cycle to the gym, cycle back, do weight training. I was fortunate to train with someone who was a bit more experienced than me. I think that really helped me. I didn't realise it at the time, but it was a very good motivator to have an accountability partner, but also to have someone that knew a bit more than me. So I skipped a few mistakes. Don't get me wrong, in hindsight I made so many mistakes. I used to literally go into the gym and do the same exercise every single day, starting with the same exercise. Hence why my chest is my biggest muscle group, my strongest muscle group, because I used to do bench press first off every single day. I didn't really know what I was doing with the nutrition. I probably overtrained at times, but hey, I still got through it. Consistency and determination still prevailed, even though I made a lot of other mistakes. So make note of that. But back to the caption. What is a toxic relationship? A toxic relationship is an unhealthy relationship where you obsessively or compulsively need or use something to compensate for a feeling of inadequacy or a way to numb from your own thoughts, your own feelings. That's what I would call a toxic relationship. That isn't just in the sense of a person. That can be food, that can be your job, that can be with yourself, that can be with material possessions. Usually that is how it goes, something external to fill in an internal void. So I'm telling you that I think I've had a toxic relationship with myself in the past. I've had a toxic relationship with food. I still have to be conscious of this toxic relationship with other people, thinking that other people, getting in great shape even, being as slim as possible or having as much money as possible or whatever, will make me feel better about myself. But I've learned the hard way, and I'm still learning the hard way. I noticed that my ego or certain feelings or desires shift in different directions, whether it's money or looking the best I can look, whatever it is. And this is hard to say as a personal trainer, because people think personal trainers always eat healthy all the time, they always have their nutrition in perfect order. But this isn't totally true, especially not for me. I got into personal training because I wanted some extra accountability of being what I talk about, which I do. I don't ever portray myself to clients on social media, to anyone, that I have a perfect relationship with food, or that I've always been in shape and I don't have my own fair share of struggles. Maybe that's what my unique selling point is that I've come from being overweight, being unconfident, not athletic in any shape or form, not being the type of kid that was into exercise, to transforming my relationship with myself and exercise. And then exercise has become a tool for me to stay healthy, push myself, be consistent. I've learnt so much about myself through exercise. But there is one caveat. I've made this mistake, and so many people make this mistake. People use exercise and what they eat and nutrition as a way to try and fix themselves. And this fits into the category of a toxic relationship with exercise, food, and your body image and yourself. You think if you get this amount of results, if you look this way, you'll be enough. But the sad truth is, which I've learnt myself, I've got in the best shape that I've deemed possible. I never had a six-pack ever in like 25 years, and I made a goal to get a six-pack, to get in the best shape ever, and I did it. But I still had this void. I still felt inadequate. This happens very often with celebrities, with bodybuilders, with people that strive for so much, which is an amazing thing, but they get to the top of whatever, or the end of their rainbow, and they realise that it doesn't fix the feeling that you had in the first place. And here's the problem. The problem is that you use it as a way to fix yourself, and you can change that. You can change exercise and eating better as a way to love yourself and treat yourself, as a way to, because we all enjoy exercise. We just forget sometimes when we're so hypnotized on thinking about, when I get this result, I'll be enough. But really, you enjoy the feeling after you work out. You enjoy the challenge. You enjoy after you beat a personal record. You enjoy the feeling after a few days of eating good food, because you feel better. You feel lighter on your feet. You feel less sluggish. You wake up with better energy levels. That is enough, let alone all the extra benefits like your mental health and sleeping better. So that's when it starts to shift to a healthier relationship, where exercise and nutrition and lifestyle serves you. You don't serve the results. You don't serve having the six-pack. You're not obedient to being in this shape or obedient to going to the gym. And then you will always see yourself as subservient to the results that you get if you never address this. So how do you deal with this? This is a daily process. I don't want to go off on a tangent. I've noticed, looking back at some of my videos, I am very tangent inclined. But what I'm aware of, in the West, in Europe, in America, we are very means and ends. We see things as a linear process, as go from here to there. Whereas in the East, I've read a lot of books, well, probably not a lot of books, right, it feels like a lot of books to me, about spirituality, about like Zen Buddhism, about a different kind of philosophy and way of thinking. I've been to India before, but I don't think at the time I absorbed the culture enough to say I got first-hand experience. And the philosophy in other places, I'm not going to say everywhere in the East, but it's a lot more about the process and what the process shows you and reveals to you and who you are. And the thing about the process is that it is always ongoing. It's a false belief that we've been told in the West that once you get there, it's done. No, there's not a real outcome at the end. We might have a tangible certificate, or we can say we lifted a certain weight, or we can say we've done this thing, but all of these processes that we separate merge into one big ever-going process that we cannot comprehend. So we're always growing or dying. We're all moving forwards or backwards. Nothing is ever still. The way that we've been brought up to believe that you start and you stop. Oh, okay, I've got this result now, I want to keep this, I'm going to keep this for the rest of my life. That's no such thing. If you don't have goals, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's a sad truth that I've had to learn the hard way. So I don't get as attached to a six-pack or this amount of money or this amount of clients or whatever story that my mind tells me as much. I still do this, I'm still aware of this, and that is the only solution. You don't fix this either, you don't get rid of this either, you just become more aware and you separate yourself from this ego that thinks, oh, I need to be able to say I can do this, I need to be able to look like this, because we feel like these are going to make us more secure in ourselves. Tangent finished. I could go on, but we'll finish there. Phase that I stay on top of my originally toxic relationship with food. I intermittent fast at times. This is a great diet because it changes your relationship with food, because you go for certain time periods without eating food, and you change, or you start to understand that you're not as hungry as you once thought you was. You can actually not go for an hour without snacking, unless I go to my grandparents' house and they will try and feed me every half an hour. But the point is, having a certain time slot where you eat builds a discipline and makes you realise that food is fuel and it has its purpose, but it's not something that you incessantly go to, and you learn to ignore some of the voices in your head that tell you, oh, should I have that, or should I have this, which has served me big time. Calorie tracking on MyFitnessPal. You don't have to use MyFitnessPal, but MyFitnessPal is amazing because I've learned over time from tracking foods consistently what different foods do for me, and it's changed my psychology towards food rather than, oh, I just want to be full, oh, this tastes good, to what is this food doing for my body. That is very important because food is fuel. It's not a reward. A lot of people have been brought up, myself included, as, oh, you've been a good boy today, here's some food. Therefore, when we're adults, when things go bad at work, when things go bad in relationships, when you don't hit your goals, you think, oh man, subconsciously, I'm going to have some food because that's like a little bit of a reward. And every time I eat food, it makes me think I'm a good boy. It sounds silly, but it's true. So that's another way to change your relationship with food. I have treat days, but I'm going to change the term that I use for this. This is clearly a reflection of how I see food as well. So this is still an ongoing process. It shouldn't be treat day, it should be a refeed day, or a let your hair down day, where you don't think about what you're putting in your body, because you still want to have a balance with your relationship in anything. Stepping away from something and depriving yourself from something forever isn't actually solving the problem. You are still being controlled by that thing because you are refusing to go near it. You're scared of it. You're scared of the topic. This goes across the board in any subject. If you're scared to talk about something or feel a certain feeling and you step away from it, you are still under control. The only way to redeem your control is by accepting the fact that you have this feeling, that you have this relationship, but you can control what you do with that, your actions in spite of that. Some people are controlled by doing it, and when I have an impulse, I'm going to do loads of it. or they go the other extreme and deprive themselves and say, I'm never having it. You've got to find a middle ground for you. I can't tell you what that is. I've changed my relationship with exercise from, the more I work out, the more weight I lose. The harder I push, the more weight I lose, to setting personal goals, like consistency goals or lift goals, or pushing yourself in a run, like getting faster and stuff like that. But I'm conscious that I don't define myself by that goal. What that goal does, it helps me grow. Goals are for growing, not for getting. This is a hard thing to comprehend in my experience. I think some people do as well. I might be projecting how I feel about it onto you, but when you start a goal and you start getting in the process and you start building a habit and you start improving, you start to realise that this actually feels better than the result. I've actually changed the way my life is. I'm happier, I've got more structure, got more routine, I'm more focused, I'm more positive, I'm more generous, all these other things. So that's the trick about goals. It's a good trick. They're for growing, not for getting. And I'm going to finish on this officially. What I've learned in my time is that your relationship with everything is a reflection of your relationship with yourself. The reason that you overcompensate or you deprive yourself is a way. It starts from the same place. It doesn't matter how it manifests. It starts from the same place. It's because you don't feel you're enough in this first place. You're either punishing yourself or you're trying to get something so that then you can tell yourself that you're good enough. But you're good enough anyway. People spend their whole lives trying to chase money, trying to chase fame, trying to chase goals for the wrong reasons. That's why it's important to ask yourself, why do I want this goal? How is it going to make me feel? And then you start to reveal how you actually want to feel, and then you can start to flip it and start feeling like that on a daily basis. So if you are compulsive about anything in your life, ask yourself, what am I trying to fix about myself? What am I trying to prove? Because there is some responsibility to take. If you are compulsive about anything in your life, ask yourself, what am I trying to fix about myself? What am I trying to prove? Because there is some responsibility to take. There is some. I'm not saying it's all yours. Sometimes it might have come from a trauma. It might just come from a negative belief, a false belief. But you have the power to change your perspective and to understand something better. And usually we haven't moved on from something because we haven't learnt from it. So you have to learn from the lesson so that you can let go of it and have a new perspective on it. And this isn't just a technique, this is actually the truth. There is a lesson in everything if you dig deep enough, if you reflect honestly enough, if you can try and be as objective as possible. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope that it has shedded some light on your relationship with food, maybe yourself, and reach out if you need any help. Using some of the tools I've talked about to change it, I thought it'd be important for me to share my journey rather than just dictating facts and information that you can get on the internet. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'll see you next time.